Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for joining myself and Mary Beth. And we are here to talk about space clearing today. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, it is so exciting and how appropriate as we're getting close to spring cleaning. And so I love it. I love this time of year because it's the time to kind of not only clean the physical part of your house and, clear the winter, but what a great time to really dive into some energetic clearing too.
Absolutely. I forget sometimes how stuffy the space in my home gets. And so I need that spring cleaning reminder. However, we're going to talk about some things today that you can do every day if you want to just maintain that energy in your home. I know I need space clearing a lot when I get stressed out. I can feel that kind of heaviness in my home. And also when other people come over. I'm very sensitive to other people's energies because I'm an empath. And I notice if someone's in my house and then they leave, I can still feel their energy there. So those are some times when I really like to use space clearing techniques. What about you?
Oh, 1000%. I love, like the full moon, like we talked about spring cleaning, things like that as good reminders on when to do, the spring cleaning. But you're right, it is so important to do the clearing and just kind of almost the energy reset pretty often because you can do it at any time. And like you said, even people you may have the best of relationships with can still bring their own energy in and kind of not quite disrupt, but your house should be cleansed to almost reset that energy field back to zero. I'm a big Barbie collector, some of you guys may know, and my what I collect the most is vintage dolls. And so that's another times that I like to kind of reset the energy of the house. If I'm bringing in kind of some new dolls or bringing in some things like I may have found at a thrift shop or things like that, because what you're doing is you're introducing kind of different energy into the house. So I think that's a great time to just kind of reset it back to zero or reset it back to neutral, your environment back to neutral.
Definitely. And I think it's important to remember that when we're doing clearing, we're not always clearing something that's negative or bad. Sometimes it's just to reset and refresh. If you're not sleeping very well, maybe getting some fresh energy into your bedroom can help you sleep a little bit better. Or if you are just feeling a little bit down, and like I said, for me, a lot of stress. The stress kind of builds up. And so I just feel like I need to get new energy around me.
Exactly, exactly. And I think those are great times to really remind you, if you're stressed, if you're sad, if you're not sleeping. The other thing is of our animals will sometimes give us little signs. Either, my dog has been deciding he wants to kind of get into some things lately or kind of change a little bit of behavior. And that's kind of little trigger signs for me to, that it's time to reset the energy. But I just wanted to remind people you don't have to wait till you start to feel, those changes. Like Denise said, you can do them weekly almost if you want before some of those things start to come in, but certainly when you start to feel those things. And I think lack of sleep or sleep disruptions, increased stress, sometimes you might be having a little bit more strife with different partners in the house, whether it be human or animal. And I think also just if you're starting to feel off or a little weird are some other good signs that a cleaning may be needed.
Absolutely. And I want to point out to everyone that you can do your own clearing and home healing, that you don't need any special qualifications. You don't need a certification. It's not like we have some magical powers that we can do this. It's just that we've learned some techniques. And it does make a difference. I think if you're sensitive to energy, some people definitely feel it more. So I feel when I need that clearing, but anyone can do it. And I'm sure that you will feel better after you do some of these things. So Mary Beth, what's your favorite tool for doing home
Yeah,
cleanings?
I love that you mentioned that because you're exactly right. Anybody can do it at any time. And I think based on the person is going to depend on what your favorite tool is, what aligns most with you. My favorite, I have two go-tos. One is my Tibetan bowl because I just love the vibrations and sound, and I will even use my rattle sometimes, just because I love sound. But my other go-to, absolute go-to, is sage. I am such a sage person. Now, my husband has a history of asthma when he was younger, and he has kind of some sensitivities to smoke. So it depends whether he's in the house or not. I will use actually the whole sage bundle with my, feather, and, kind of feel very woo-woo, but it just feels so right to me to have it in the shell and kind of walk around. But if he's in the house, I actually will use a sage spray. So if those of you who are interested in sage but are worried about the smoke smell, different companies do sell a kind of a spray that you can use, which does not involve the smoke. What about you, Denise?
Well, that's very interesting because my favorite tool is actually just doing visualizations.
Mm,
So the one thing that I do the most is I will open my window and I will just set the intentions that any energy that doesn't serve me is going to leave my home. And I ask it to leave, and I just visualize or imagine, like a puff of smoke almost just going out the window. So I I really believe in the power of intent and the power
1000%.
of your words. And so asking the energy to leave, it will have that effect. That's really all you have to do. So that's probably my favorite. But I also use sage, and I wanted to agree with you and confirm what you said because my cat has asthma. And
Mm.
so I don't like to use the smoke a lot in my house, but I also have a spray and I really like the spray. So I highly recommend that as well.
Yeah, and I actually bring the sage spray with me if I travel. So that's something that you can do. And I always actually bring my bowl. Again, I love my rituals, but you don't need it. You don't need it at all. Like you said, the power of intent and affirmation is really all you ever need. But the spray is good for travel too, because whether I'm in a car or especially in a different hotel room, I will kind of go around and kind of just spray and open the door a lot of times just to clear that energy of that space, because I get very funny in my sleep. I want to be able to sleep comfortably. And in a new space, or when there's kind of some weirdness going on, I'm like, nope, I need to get that out because I do not want to be bothered when I sleep.
I don't
So,
think
yeah.
that's funny at all. I think everybody wants to be able to sleep soundly.
Just
And
clear it out. Yeah.
yeah,
So, and okay.
I was going to say, I also have a sound bowl that I like to use. I use that at home, but I was going to mention tuning forks.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
happen to have any of those, but that's another thing that might be a good tool for people that it has a different frequency. So
It
really, it's
does.
super easy. All you have to do is use your tuning forks and walk around your house, and it will attune the frequency to match this vibration.
Tuning forks. Oh, I love it. We'll talk about that more next time, because when we do a little bit more self-healing, because that's where I usually use a lot of my tuning forks and even in my practice. So thank you for mentioning tuning forks, because they are very powerful, very, very powerful. So it really kind of goes back to what you mentioned and what we talked about with the power of intention and what aligns best for you. I will sometimes, when I first started in my journey, kind of being a little bit more feeling official, like, I had a prayer book, and I tried to make it, I wanted to make sure I was saying the exact right things and pulling prayers offline, and I realized that it doesn't always work, or it's not always important, like exactly, what someone else has written. When I would just kind of walk around and kind of say my own prayer or my own affirmation, whatever word you want to use, is really what felt the best to me. So I really agree with you 1000% that anyone can do it and really do what feels aligned to you. So right down to the prayer or affirmation, just speak out loud what you feel led. So
And that's going to be the most effective, right? Whatever is what you need at any given moment. And I also want to mention that calling in gratitude is always helpful. And I like to kind of replace the energy. So when I ask the
yes,
energy to leave, I will ask for the room to be filled with clean, positive, peaceful energy, and fill it with gratitude. Thank this new energy for coming in to bring new and positive things into my life as well. It's making space for more goodness. So that's another thing. Just having a gratitude practice is helpful in keeping positive energy and space around you.
Exactly. It's pretty much just hygiene. And I think that's kind of what we were talking about too. It's kind of going back to the full moon and, different times are easy to remember, that a time that a clearing may be needed, but it's really important just to make it a part of your daily ritual or weekly rituals, kind of make it a part of your hygiene, because that way that can keep the energy flowing and keep it positive and keeping you grateful and just in a better space. So yeah, I think that's really, really important to make it habitual, because I think that's what also limits too much of the stagnant energy, which can cause issues, or too much of that negative energy or lower vibration energy, whatever word you want to use. It keeps that from building up. So if you're kind of ahead of your practice, ahead of your hygiene, and keeping the area as clear as possible. And remember, it's not only, when negative things happen, daily practice is really important.
This is a great way to enhance your spiritual practice.
Exactly.
So, doing something to clear your space or your energy every day, it helps us be better animal communicators. It helps us to get clear information. And so, I can't recommend enough to start developing your own spiritual practice. And you may want to include some of the tools we talked about in order to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Even science loves sage, by the way. I wanted to mention two quick things. In 2016, they looked at burning sage can actually activate the brain, or using sage. I won't say burning sage because I don't know how exactly they used it, but it actually can increase mood levels. The study actually showed that it can increase mood levels and possibly even help with pain. So there is even more than just woo to this, because in another study in 2014, they looked at the one tool, Sage, actually helping with anxiety and depression. So it's been used by many different tribes and, for centuries. And again, that's just one tool, but I think it's really amazing that some of the stuff that does feel good, there's a physical reason for that. There's even now starting to be scientific reasons for that. So I think honoring that intuition and honoring, what tool works best for you, go with it, because there's a reason for it.
I think it's so awesome that science is finally looking into all of this, kind of like, gee, why have indigenous cultures been using some of these healing methods for years and years? Obviously, they wouldn't keep doing it if it didn't work or if it didn't do anything. So I love that they're finally starting to take note of, like, maybe they've got something here and looking into it. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. Figuring out what feels good to you is going to be the most important thing that you'll get the most value out of. And obviously, that's what you're going to keep doing, right? So notice how you feel when you try these things and just pick one if it feels good to you.
Exactly, exactly. And I just wanted to put one side note in for you guys. If you do feel, things or in a new house or things like that that may not feel exactly right, you may need a little bit of help. So there may be some other things which we can talk about another time. This is more just for maintenance and kind of some easy strategies and easy tools that you can do. So yeah.
There are certainly people that specialize in that, and it can be helpful, like you're
Yeah.
saying, in certain situations. But I don't
But
want
as
to
a whole,
discourage
yeah.
anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. As a whole, these are definitely just some strategies that you can use. So, yeah.
So please let us know if you try some of them. Put it in the comments. Let us know what works for you.
Yeah, and let us know what your favorite tool is, especially if it's one that we haven't mentioned, because I would love to try it.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear more. It helps to encourage us to keep making videos.
Yes, and let us know if you have a topic that you would love for us to talk about. Thank you.
Thanks.